Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 24, which is Noah's favorite number of the podcast, where we talk all things film and television in real time. My name is Ryan, and I work in the film and television industry.
And I'm Noah, whose favorite number is 24 and who is a sports broadcaster. Today we're going to be talking about Michael, the new movie, of course, the number one movie in the world. Ryan is going to give his spoiler-free review because I am going to see it later this week. We're going to go over the Clayface trailer that came out that a lot of people are talking about. We're going to go through The Boys Season 5, Episode 4. We've been doing, every week talking about the new Boys episode. We're massive fans of the show. And also we're going to talk some more spin-off news in terms of the Boys universe. Ryan, how has your week been?
It's been good. It's been good. Like you mentioned, some good content. Michael, the boys. I am curious when you say spoiler-free Michael, how do we do you know how Michael's story ends.
Okay, true. I meant I guess
I
not spoiler free, more so detail,
I know
not
what
like so detail oriented.
I
But
know what
yes,
I know
that's a
what you
fair
mean.
point.
It's just funny to think spoiler free when everyone knows Michael
Yeah, it's
Jackson's
it's it's
story.
like
But
saying yeah, it's
what you
it's like
mean
saying
that
spoiler free for the Titanic movie where we know how that.
totally, totally. You don't want to know the plot points. You don't want to know like the specific moments that are big. I get it. How it ends, like what it ends on. I get it. Um, but yeah, week was good. How about you? You getting? I see you're wearing your Naturals shirt right now. Your
Yeah,
baseball.
I just came straight from the park. We're in the midst of a 12 game homestand, so I'm 6/12ths of the way, or as some people might want to refer to that, halfway through this homestand. Today we had a double header, so that made it even more busy. But tomorrow I have off, which just means preparing for Tuesday's
So,
game.
is your voice just like so sore right now? You've been talking all day.
The good news is I'm used to it. Um, I guess that's actually a good question. I've gotten asked that in the past. It's not like it's not. If I called like a walk off and I was yelling or something, then maybe. But I'm ready to roll. I'm no limitations for this podcast. Don't worry.
Well, let's just get it going then. Let's start off with Michael, as we kind of already slightly touched on it. Um, First off, it's getting extremely bad Rotten Tomatoes critic score. It was at like 34 when I first checked, and I think it's gone up slightly or whatever. But its audience score I checked today is at a 97, and I lean more towards the audience side of it. Um, I had a blast. I really had a lot of fun with it. Um, I love the music. The music you're going to hear a lot of people say it's shot beautifully, it's directed great. You feel like you're in one of those concert movies, you know? And Jafar Jackson, I mean, it's uncanny at times. There were moments where I'm looking at the screen and I whispered to who I was with, and I was just like, I can't believe that's not Michael Jackson. And this is Coleman Domingo's also best performance to date. I haven't seen Sing Sing. I know that's what he got nominated for, so maybe that's a better performance by Coleman. But I've always seen Coleman Domingo in this role of like kind of like the eccentric, flamboyant, like kind of like what he was like recently in like Running Man type of character. This was different, and it was a great performance by him. Um, so the performances, the music, great. It's fun. I think what it lacks in a little bit is some of those story moments, you know, instead of feeling like one kind of like cohesive story, which there is a bit of, it kind of feels like they just hit beats and points throughout his career. I can understand why, if this wasn't a Michael Jackson movie, would I be that interested? Maybe not. But thankfully it is, and there's the music and this great character study of Michael Jackson that made me just have a blast with it. Um, and I definitely will also say it's much more of like a family oriented movie, I'd say. Um, there's rumors of there being a potential part two. This one's definitely the early part of his career where it's more so focused on his rise to fame. And Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's a good time. Bring your kids, your family, listen to some good music. I do think if they do a second part, it'll be more of that downfall, hopefully the darker turn, um, into, what happened later in Michael's life.
Part two, Jackson. Um, I know, obviously, like, not to get into like the extreme details. I think a big reason why, at least the chatter I'm hearing from the Twitter sphere and online and everything, is that a reason why there have been a lot of negative reviews is because it really just shines light and only light on Michael Jackson and doesn't really, go into the darker times like you're talking about they might get into in a potential part two. And it doesn't, all the allegations, like everything that, would make it look not so great. Um, it sounds like you didn't have an issue with that with that aspect of it whatsoever.
Look, I mean, I understand everyone like has different views on things, but for me, I'm not fully aware of Michael Jackson's story. I don't know every single detail of what happened, what he was like. To be fair, since this movie came out, I've been doing a lot of research. This guy is fascinating. Oh my, like the stuff that happens
Yeah.
is mind-boggling, which is why I want to see a part two to like. I don't think this is a spoiler. It's pretty clear there's going to be a part two to this movie. Um, and I want to see that side of things, but people have long lives, and clearly this first part of his life was positive for the most part. You know what I mean? And that's the period that they're focusing on. And I will say, you know, I don't fully agree with that because there is a lot of hints in the movie about what's to come.
Hmm.
There's a lot of they don't paint him as a bad guy, but there's a lot of hints. See, this is where maybe people might be getting a little worked up with it, is because even those hints, like, kind of could show why he acts the way he does and maybe give some justification in some way. But I think they're going to show the darker side of the story. Like, that just wasn't what this first movie was for. This first movie was to show this kid with immense talent that rose to astronomical levels of fame.
Yeah, no, I mean that definitely makes sense. It makes sense. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. I'm gonna see it sometime this week. What were your other takeaways?
Um, Not a ton. I mean, not a ton else without getting into like specific scenes and spoilers. I don't think it's as good as Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't think it's as good as Rocket Man. But I think it's better than some other ones. Like, I love Bruce Springsteen, but I didn't love Deliver Me from Nowhere. I think it's better than that. Um, but that was a different movie in essence. That was, I don't know, did you see it?
I did not.
It was more of like a very intimate character, like indie type film, So it's kind of tough to even compare. But overall, I just had a blast with it. It flew by too. It's 2 hours, 10 minutes, 2 hours, 9 minutes, something like that, and it just flies by. People look around. Also, I mean, people in the theater wearing their full Michael Jackson outfits. I haven't seen this since Barbie Oppenheimer, like to this extent, of people dressed up as Michael Jackson. I went the Friday night, and people were just dancing and having a good time. So, um, yeah, I think it's good. I liked it.
I think it's tricky with these sort of movies because like I shouldn't say I had one argument one time or a conversation or whatever about Wolf of Wall Street and how somebody else like didn't like the movie because they said, Jordan Belfort, who's a real like person in real life, didn't really face any consequences in the movie. We were going back and forth and they should have showed he was a worse person, all that kind of stuff. And it's just hard when you have this kind of thing because everything's Hollywoodized. So I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm not saying they definitely should not touch upon those dark moments at all. But also, everything's Hollywoodized anyway. Like you're going to the movies to try to have a fun viewing experience and hope that they tell a story in a compelling way and entertain you and have good writing and good dialogue and great music in this case. And again, I haven't even seen the movie, but as long as they did all those things, um, like if you're gonna fault this movie for it, there's so many other movies that are based on true stories that you could fault for it as well. That's just what my point.
This movie is evoking positive vibes. You know what I mean? So like, if you're someone, your average viewer who doesn't, or a kid who's going to the theater to go watch a Michael Jackson movie, you're leaving this movie feeling inspired and hopeful. You know what I mean? Like, it's not having some negative impact on the people watching it. But then again, there's those select few people that had maybe a difficult experience watching it because they had that, they were a part of it. I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense. It's so tough to talk about.
No, it makes sense, and it is very tough to talk about. Sometimes you got to have the like. I mean, right now, sometimes it's like beneficial to have those conversations just because. But the fact of the matter is, you saw a movie, you liked it. I'm gonna see that movie. I will obviously talk about it next week on the pod. Um, and yeah, I mean, it is the number one movie in the world. It is Michael Jackson, the king of pop. Uh, maybe what the most popular artist ever. Taylor Swift is trying to go for him, but like, it's,
Doesn't
I
have
think
it.
it's still
It's
gonna
not
be
close.
yeah. So,
Crazy.
uh, so yeah,
And this is before social media, before any of that. So anyway, all this to say, if any of this stuff, those allegations and stuff, which again, I'm not fully even aware of what's true, what's not true, is true. That's horrible, you know,
of course.
and that sucks. But the story for what it was, I enjoyed, and that's kind of all I can speak on.
There you go.
Let's move on from Michael Jackson to a trailer we got this week. Clayface. You watch it?
I did.
Mike Flanagan, he's a great director. He did The Life of Chuck, Haunting of Hill House, I think. He did a few other ones. He's a great, great director. Mainly does horror films. What did you think of his Clayface trailer?
It's a really cool trailer. It is a very. I got texts from multiple people when it came out. I forgot if it was morning, afternoon, whatever. But I was busy whenever it was. I got texts like, "Have you seen the Clayface trailer? Have you seen the Clayface?" And I was like, really? It's okay, interesting." So I checked it out. Yeah, that's a good trailer. It was really cool. Like they a big part of getting trailers right is setting the tone, setting how the tone is going to be during the show or movie, obviously movie in this case, and they did a really good job at that. You get the creepy, scary vibe, and it's showing him in the mask laying on the table, and then it's cutting away to stuff, and then it's back to him, and then cutting away back to him, and it's the music is eerie. Yeah, no, it captivated me.
You know, the MCU said for a bit, they're like, we're going to make movies in all different genres. And they somewhat did. I'll give them credit. You know what I mean? Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, they said was their first horror film. No, not really. Like, they have one jump scare. Um, I'd say, Wonder Man was a great example of them kind of delving out of the Marvel formula. I am loving to see that DC is kicking off pretty early on with something that is so different in tone from the rest of their movies. They're going full horror with this, as you mentioned. They're getting a great horror director to do it. It's like a body horror type film, and I'm really on board. It looked great. It looked really good.
Yeah,
And I was talking to Sam the other day, Rockland, and he was like, the only thing I don't get, he goes, I don't get why, I don't know, not word for word, but he's like, it's not going to make a lot of money. Like Clayface is not going to make a ton of money. Like, what's the point of them doing this so early? And I said, do you know how much they made this movie for? $40 million. In comparison, most superhero movies are around $200 million. So they made this with a very limited budget. It's going to make more than its budget and much, much more. If it was a $200 million budget, it might not break even. You know what I mean? But because they're making it on such a small scale, it's going to make a ton of money compared to, that's what a success is in film. That's what a box office success is, making more money than you put into it. A flop is when it's, under. And I like that not only are they delving into a different genre, but they're also, working at different scales. They're taking a more independent film approach with this one, which I think is pretty neat.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Definitely is neat. Now, I would love to say that I'm definitely going to see it, I'll be there opening night and all that kind of stuff. I tend to hate horror stuff. I just, it's the only genre that I just can't, not can't, because I went to the movie theater to see It Too with all my friends freshman year. Or no,
That movie sucks.
sorry, it was Joker. Joker was 2019, so that
Yeah,
would have been like junior year or something. I went with all my
they're
friends to see It
they're
Too.
both no. It
Oh,
Too and Joker were both freshman year.
okay, then never mind.
Yeah, they're both
Okay.
2019.
Then in that case, yes, I went with all my friends freshman year to see both movies, but one of them was It Too, and I just I wanted to leave the theater. It's I don't know. I just it's hard for me to do that. But there are some horror things I like. I really like The Shining. There are like psychological thrillers I really enjoy. So I guess I'm hoping that it's more eerie and creepy than scary and jump scary and all that kind of stuff. And if that's the case, then I will definitely see it.
Well, you definitely have to see it. We have a podcast that talks about this. So,
True. Yeah. You're right. And
uh,
it's the
all of
DC.
our 19 fans are gonna
We're up,
clamor.
we're up to 19.
Well, maybe a little less. That was an exaggeration.
I was about to say we're up to 19.
I have 7K on TikTok now,
That's
10K
sick.
on Instagram. It's kind of
10K
crazy,
on Instagram.
or almost 10K. So hopefully those people start to watch our podcast. Um,
We got to go live again. We got to go live.
yeah, we do.
We got to do it sometime soon.
We gotta do that sometime soon. Regardless, I'm pumped. It looks good. I don't think it's gonna be extreme horror, but I do hope that it stays in that genre and doesn't do a cop out like a multiverse of madness thing. Like if you're saying it's horror, make it horror. It doesn't have to be, exorcist level horror film, mind-bogglingly scary jump but make it weird, make it creepy, make it strange, you know what I mean? So um yeah, I'm excited. And then I guess it's our first look at Gotham. They also said James Gunn posted that this is the first chronological movie in the DCU.
Oh, did he really?
Yep. So it's the first time they're going back, and that it would tie into things in the future, and it just would hop kind of genres. So I think there's like a Clayface and Creature Commandos. I haven't seen Creature Commandos, but I wonder if it ties in, if like it's the same guy.
Did he say how long before the
I don't,
events of Superman or Creature Commandos or whatever
I don't think
Clayface did?
so.
Hmm.
He just said this is our first chronological DCU movie. So
Interesting. Okay.
food for thought. Let's move on to this. The Boys, season 5, episode 4. Thumbs up, thumbs middle, thumbs down. What are you thinking?
Definitely not thumbs down. I'm gonna go thumbs middle.
Okay. I'm thumbs down. I did not like it.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Okay. I've seen so many people not like it. I'm glad because I'm glad. I'm glad that you don't like it because now we get to have the conversation.
I haven't read a thing about it, honestly. I watched it last night and been pretty
Oh.
busy today. So I don't know what people think. I was intrigued to come into this a bit blind. Uh what did you like about it? Let's start with that.
So the general not that it matters what the other people say. All that matters is what we're saying right now, obviously. But like the general consensus from stuff I'm reading is filler episode. Nothing important really happens. Um, I thought it was very like they chose to do a character driven episode. In my opinion, and I know you didn't even get into like why didn't you like it, but my opinion is just because one of the main characters didn't die, like it happened in the past few episodes, doesn't mean, or when an important character doesn't die, doesn't mean it's a filler episode. It was very character driven. I like how it was. It was just interesting that like the particles were messing with everybody's minds and making everybody like the angriest version of themselves and the most hostile version of themselves. And to be able to see Butcher egging MM on was actually kind of funny. But then more importantly than that, getting to see Frenchie take the lead, and they use the joke that like he's done so many drugs that he could overpower the thing. That was a little silly. But seriously, like I was like talking to my TV and saying, "Yeah, Frenchie, yeah." Like I was actually getting hype when he was like leading them two different times. two different times he like stepped up, took the lead, and made sure that they got in and that they got out and tried to avoid Homelander. And they didn't know Soldier Boy was going to be there too, but they tried to avoid Homelander. Then you get a character thing from Soldier Boy where he obviously has this history with the person Quinn or whatever up against the wall, and finally for the whole season we haven't really had anything like in depth of Soldier Boy, so we get to finally learn a little more about his character as we go into Vault Rising next year, which we're obviously going to get into. But that was also like, oh, to see another level of Soldier Boy that he's like crying over having to kill this guy Quinn who betrayed him and he hated, but he had to work with him and he must have had a really good relationship at some point with him. So it's just like all these things where they're showing, not telling. They're showing this, like they're not telling us word for word exactly what the background was with him, and showing based on his emotion behind everything. Um, Anthony Starr's acting when in the cell trying to get out was obviously great. I think maybe you had an issue with the fact, because I had a slight issue with the fact that like Butcher just leaves Homelander in there instead of trying to kill him, even though I don't know if he even could have got in there. So maybe that's not even an issue. But I'm curious. I know I just talked a lot. I'm curious what your issues were with the episode.
I have so many issues,
Okay.
honestly. I thought it was terrible. I didn't like it, honestly. And the
Wow.
more you were just reminding me of things, the more I remembered. Because again, I watched it once, was busy all, last night, was went to sleep, was busy all day. Haven't really thought about it since. Didn't really want to think about it since. That's how much I like disliked it.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I did not like about this episode. First of all, you slightly touched on it. The writing I thought was not good in points. I
Okay.
thought like the idea that Butcher just leaves Homelander there, the idea that this thing all of a sudden exists that's like it just goes against that machine all of a sudden exists that could trap the soups and they and could kill someone like Homelander potentially if he wasn't able to escape and what?
That makes sense because they said that that's where they originally tested, that they originally shot Soldier Boy up with V1 there. So something like Vought, like that was like the original lab. So it makes sense that there would be like that's like a base. That's at least what I got from it.
Sure, it's a base, but it's also like this new plot device exists that almost kills Homelander out of nowhere after all these seasons. Like, what if they just put that box in another box? Then would he have died? Like, it was like all of a sudden something can contain Homelander, and then he's able to punch himself out once he's so weak. Why couldn't he do that the first? The writing was just messy to me. It was illogical. And I think that's slightly the issue with the boys is some of these characters are so overpowered that you have to create these plot devices to lessen them so they can interact with someone like Huey or but I guess Butcher has powers now, but it's like it's that's why the show has to end soon. You know, they can't keep doing this. So besides some of that bad writing, the you touched on this, the I might have already mentioned it, the Frenchie line of oh I've taken so many drugs that I can like okay like that's
That was
weird,
dumb. That
that's
was
dumb.
Yeah.
Besides that, look, this whole episode felt like it was just trying to promote. Let's just talk about Vought Rising right now in one.
Sure.
Let's make this one topic because the whole episode was promoting Vought Rising, and I actually am less excited for Vought Rising now than I was before because, like we talked about, love Soldier Boy, great character, and I was really excited to see how he became to be who he is. Now we know how it ends. I don't like I don't mind prequels. I'm not the biggest prequel guy, but I like prequels when they really have a new like something new to say. I know where Quinn when we meet him in Vought Rising, I know what his end game is. I know what that lab is going to look like. I know what that like it just lessens. I don't think I'm going to watch it or rush to watch it as I would have because I get what they're doing. They're trying to promote this new show or whatever and like show oh this, but first of all it felt like such a promotion of it. It felt so on the nose of oh these are characters you're gonna learn, but also I just know how their stories end. I couldn't care less anymore. Like, you know what I mean? If all you know is Homeland is Soldier Boy gets frozen or whatever and comes back years later, that's fine, but now we know so much more. There's so many more things said throughout that as he's walking in the lab that just give away things that are going to happen in the show. And I didn't like that we're in the final season of The Boys and all of a sudden it's promoting some other show. Like this is Go Time. This is The Boys final season. This is not it is a filler episode. Nothing happens. not they just visit this place for the sake of visiting the place, and they find out, oh, we have to go to this next place to get the VY. It's pointless. You can remove this whole episode, I bet, and nothing would have changed. The only thing that would have changed is that Kimiko and Frenchie aren't together anymore, which is the best couple in the show. They're
That
the
was
best
bad.
couple in what?
That was bad.
They're the
I
best couple in the show. We talked
Yeah.
about this a week ago. We said Annie and Huey are intolerable, and all of a sudden they're the ones that are together. Who they're both so annoying. Her acting was terrible in this episode. I thought she's. I don't. I used to like her as an actress. I just think she was horrible in this episode. The whole family stuff was like fine, but like we've seen that plot line so many times. You show up at the dad's house and he has another family. Like I thought the episode was horrible, and I almost wonder if it's the Vought, like not Vought, if it's the Vought, oh yeah, Vought Rising writers that worked on this episode, because then that would make me even less excited for Vought Rising. This is like the first rant I've had on this podcast because I really have been loving the boys, and this episode, I thought everything about it was horrible.
I honestly enjoy ranting Ryan more than any other version of Ryan, I think. It's fun.
What the heck was that? Everything I was like, what am I watching? It felt like a parody of the show, and the show's already a parody in some ways.
So it's interesting. I mean, I'm not as passionate on this episode as you are. Um, I did. It's it's funny. I liked. I'm actually going to agree with you on a lot, even though I didn't dislike the episode, because I liked the Annie family stuff. I actually did because we talked on the podcast literally last week, and I said she's gonna get a pep talk from someone. I think I said like it's either gonna be Huey or someone. It ended up being her dad. That's a good decision. I like that in and of itself. That writing decision. The the whole story of she goes home and then somebody else rats her out to the local authorities. We literally see that in X Men. That is in an X Men movie. I believe it was Last Stand. It was either that or X2, but that's in an X Men movie. Um,
Again,
the everyone,
Barney Stinson goes home.
huh?
Also, when Barney Stinson goes home, and John Lithgow has a whole family.
That also, yeah, yeah,
Anyway,
best show ever. Um, we People surrounded by particles or things making them angry, making them upset, the worst versions of themselves. We've seen it in a few things. I mean, Lord of the Rings, that's a thing, but it's Harry Potter. That's a thing. When Harry's wearing the necklace in Deathly Hallows Part One, he just becomes an asshole. So that's a thing. Butcher literally gives a speech to Ryan about Empire Strikes Back. And then there was one other reference that they used in the show, and I was literally thinking, or in the episode, and I was literally thinking during the episode, I was like, this feels too Stranger Thingy. Like this, Stranger Things is supposed to be the show that references everything, and the only thing that this show really references, aside from using politics in its like storylines, which is hilarious, is just like Billy Joel. Really, when it comes to Huey, it doesn't do a lot of references to try to teach lessons. That's really a Stranger Things thing. So I don't know. I agree with you that there were a lot of parts about the writing that felt either off or a little easy. The family stuff actually did work with me with Annie. I like the fact a lot that they didn't have the police, the cop start going ballistic and it being a scene. I like the fact that he was like, I'm gonna go. If I come back in an hour, she better be gone. I liked that. That was good. Um, like there were things during each plotline that I enjoyed and I liked, but I agree that overall it was a bit messy.
look, I'm still gonna be pumped for the next episode. I very well could see Amazon being like, okay, if we're gonna do this VOD Rising show, you need to have an episode that ties into it, and that's what they chose to do. So didn't like it. Uh, didn't like it at all. But um,
Hated it. It was grotesque.
it was horrible. But I will be tuning in next week because the rest of the show is so good. It's just like disappointing. It's the final season. Like like I said, it's go time. Like Shouldn't be that.
You know what's interesting though? I will say this. Aaron has not, my brother, Aaron has not seen, at least as of last night, he had not seen episode 4 yet. And he complained to me and he said, we need more Soldier Boy because he said, like, through 3 episodes, Soldier Boy would just enter somebody else's scene and then leave that person's scene and he would never have anything to himself. And I told him, I was like, watch episode 4 because and I know I hear what you're saying about like the whole promoting Vault Rises, but I actually thought it was good giving him some sort of layer, some sort of depth, like besides this guy who just has the most creative, funny disses, like giving him some sort of um more character development or at least like understanding of the character backstory. But I actually do agree because I didn't think about that. You're right. Knowing less is better for when a show is coming, even if it's like a prequel, than
Yeah.
get like
So then write in you have some of the best writers in Hollywood, hopefully. So then write in a line or two in a different episode that gives him a hint towards his past or whatever, without giving it fully away how it's going to end.
yeah.
And then you have a whole show to do that character development and learn more about him. It doesn't have to like this is not Soldier Boy's show. He came in late and he's a great character. Love Soldier Boy, but it's 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 not his show. Also, what happened with him and Stormfront? Because I think she's in the show.
I think you know exactly what happened with him in Storm.
Same thing that happened with him and Firecracker, and him and that other the lady that's now Jesus to Homelander.
Well, we know they had intercourse because he said that they had sex like one or
Yeah.
two times. Um, but I think it goes further than that. I guess we didn't do we I guess we didn't touch upon this last episode. I totally think that Stormfront is Homelander's mom.
Oh,
Yeah, I totally think that. Which is what makes the conversation between Homelander um and Soldier Boy even more interesting in this past episode.
but Soldier Boy didn't say that he slept with Stormfront. He said he slept with.
Liberty. Liberty.
Oh,
Yeah, no, he slept with Liberty. Like he said that to Homelander. And then
I thought,
Homelander bragged back.
who's the one with the milk that Homelander loves that he now sees in his
Oh, Stillwell?
Stillwell? I thought he was talking about Stillwell, and he says I slept with Stillwell.
Stillwell was
No,
probably
that would have
either
been
a baby or
yeah.
not even born yet.
I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I'm wrong. Okay, so he slept with Liberty Storm.
Stormfront, yeah.
Oh,
You think
uh?
yeah, I think Homelander had sex with his mom a lot of times.
Oh, that is some
But
serious
no,
me issues.
exactly, which is why it's perfect for Homelander.
It is perfect for Homelander. Oh,
Like like
oh,
like story wise, that like writing wise, that is actually perfect.
that is.
I'm so happy that you didn't pick up on that.
I mean, how would she not know? Or she liked it, or she
How would she not know that
what
Homelander was his
her
son?
son? Yeah, her son.
First, good question. Maybe she just has a lot of kids, and she
Maybe
just
she sucks.
and all the white ones with blonde hair and blue eyes are kept alive, and anybody else she just offs.
That's not a bad theory. Thus, Homelander. Um, I almost just dropped my thing. Anyway, yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. You got anything else you want to say about the boys season 4? Or
Um, okay, yes, I do. There at the very end of the episode, and I know your point of like I think this might be important, but I still get what you're saying of like we could have basically skipped the episode. Butcher is trying to research like radiation to see if that could affect um like if you use the virus and you use radiation or something, maybe that could bypass the V1 or something. So maybe that's a way that they're going to be able to do this. I don't know. I think they wouldn't have shown that at the very end of the episode. Butcher trying to like watch the TV and research the radiation things if that wasn't going to play a factor. So I think that will be important. Or
yeah,
might be important.
Yeah, everything, hopefully good writing, everything happens for a reason, but that episode was so badly written that I don't know if I trust that. Um, anyway, um, quick episode here, which is good. You had a long day.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we were going to get into some positives about looking forward to Vault Rising, but I guess
I
I
mean, what else? What else? Like, I'm excited to see more Soldier Boy, and Jensen Ackles is awesome as Soldier Boy, but I'm it got me less excited.
valid. I mean, it said it's going to be a murder mystery, and that's like my favorite genre ever. So that's gonna. I'm excited.
I also want to watch season 2 of Gen V.
Yeah, which was canceled. Rest in peace to Gen
I
V.
was told it ends. It's not that it's canceled. It's just like the end of season 2 is kind of the end. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
people are saying it because I saw someone say it's canceled, and someone replied and was like, "It didn't get canceled. It just is done." Like that's the
Okay.
story.
So sorry. Will not be renewed for a third season.
Yeah, like
Um,
I don't know if I'd have to watch it to see how that ends, but maybe I'll try and get to that because I really like the first season.
apparently it ends with them saying like, "Okay, let's go kill Homelander." So if that's the case, it makes 100% sense why that would be the end of the show because then it just carries on to the boys.
So they'll probably be in this show at some point.
See, that's the thing. I don't know about that. They've mentioned Marie like 3 times,
I
and
know.
I feel like I think this is how I'm taking it. I think them mentioning Marie is them saying to us, the writers saying to us, go watch Gen V, but we're saying her name instead of bringing her in.
Like she did X, which allowed us to.
Exactly.
That's how she played her part in this.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. That's how I'm taking it. If she shows up, I'm totally wrong. If she like actually, but also I think it would be a little crazy if, like, according to some people online who have seen Gen V season two, according to my friend and everything, if Marie shows up, she is gonna be like very important in defeating Homelander. We have 4 episodes left in the show. I highly doubt they bring in a character from a spin-off show to be like the main reason that they beat Homelander in 5 seasons of The Boys. In that case, I'm gonna be more upset than you are at this episode.
I agree. I agree. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Um, regardless, I'm excited for next week. What else do we have coming up? Mando and Grogu is soon. Disclosure Day is coming up kind of soon too. Um, you're gonna see Michael this week,
Yep.
and yeah, um,
Also, I've heard for a few weeks actually that episode 5 is where it starts to get really diabolical.
I've also heard that. So
I can't wait.
another reason to be pumped. Like it didn't diminish anything because it feels more like a mandate episode that had to happen just by the studio. But regardless, make sure you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. My name's Ryan. That over there, that little guy over there nodding his head, pointing at his shirt, that's Noah. And we have been talking all things film and television in
In
real
real
time.
time. That's actually